Welcome. We will now do a longer meditation, about 12 minutes. First 6 minutes of retained breath, and then afterwards 6 minutes of square breath. And I will directly start now using the Mindbell app to help me be informed when we reach the 6 minutes and the 12 minutes. So you're sitting very straight. So we are sitting very straight in our chair. It's important that our hips are at the same height or maybe a little bit higher than our knees to allow us to breathe deeply into our stomach area. And then we start to make the breath deeper. We can start with an out breath. Follow up with an in breath. So we create a full breath now, and we're using about, for example, 6 or 8 heartbeats, or seconds if you cannot feel your heart now. And this is the so-called full breath. It's using the stomach area, and we can further improve this area or maybe add something to this kind of breath by introducing a pause at the top of the inhalation. So the next time when we inhale for 8 heartbeats, six heartbeats, we now introduce a pause. For example, for the same time, for 8 heartbeats. And once we finish this pause for the 8 heartbeats, we breathe out again. Once we finish our out breath, we immediately start with the in breath again. So we only do a pause at the top of the breath. So meaning when we are full of air, then we can do a pause. And in the pause, it's very helpful to look for the heartbeat. You can feel it, you may be able to feel it in your chest, or maybe you can feel the pulse somewhere. If the pulse shows up somewhere, you may ask yourself, why did it show up at this position of my body? Maybe there's some message in this sensation. The main thing is to continue with the pattern of breathing in for 8 heartbeats, holding the breath at the top of the inhalation for 8 heartbeats, for example. And then breathing out again for 8 heartbeats. doing this meditation, this practice, you may also notice great calm that comes up, relaxation comes. It gives your body, your heart, the opportunity to process all emotions, to conserve your energy, to conserve your breath. Because, for example, if you think about being on the limit of one's abilities or one's energy, usually you say you're out of breath. So this kind of breathing is very helpful to conserve your energy, to have enough breath to do whatever you want to do. And now we finished 6 minutes and we switch to the so-called square breath. So after we finished the next exhalation, we breathe in again for 8 heartbeats. And then we hold the breath for 16 heartbeats, for example. And for this kind of breathing, it's very important that you have a steady breath, that you breathe out as much as possible so that your volume is very big as it can be. And you're breathing not too fast. You can also put a 2-syllable word on the breath to help you count, like for example, mama or papa or something, or daddy, whatever you like, or any other word may come to you to help you with the counting. And you can help yourself also by imagining that you start with the in-breath from your heart going to the right shoulder, then holding the breath in the first 8 heartbeats going from the right shoulder to the top of your head, then the second hold from the top of your head to the left shoulder, and then finally the out breath from the left shoulder down to your heart again, or to the solar plexus area, even a little bit below your heart, about slightly above your stomach area. And if you do this meditation for a longer time, you notice that you become very calm, very peaceful. The sensations in your body change. The body becomes a little bit less active. It's like it's switching into a passive mode. So we are still feeling our body and our heart, but we are deep in our emotions, feelings, and thoughts, or deep in the concentration of this meditation practice. This practice is mainly also good to develop emotional stability and emotional capacity for everything that you encounter in life. So it could be needed at your job or in your relationships, or it could be other situations where it's really helpful to have this kind of peace. And at the end of the meditation, you feel what's in your heart. And usually one has feelings of powerful peace in one's heart. And you can also decide if you want to send out the peace from your heart, for example, to a person that needs it, or maybe also a situation, but mainly to a person would be the most, or to a group maybe, would be the most common use. And you send it with the out breath from your heart to, and imagine the other person in front of you and send it to this person. And then you stop the breathing pattern, you go back to your daily breath. You make a quick check-in. How do you feel? How does your body feel? How does your heart feel? What is the feelings inside you? What are the thoughts that are coming up? And finally, once you have taken a few further breaths, you may decide to stretch yourself a little bit and open your eyes.